Hi, SingleSuperMummy, here with a quick review of British Airways. Actually, I recently, last weekend actually, I went to on a little mini break to Tobago. Me and my friend went to the Tobago Jazz Festival, which was brilliant, by the way. But for my holiday and stuff, I'm gonna do a review on my blog on SingleSuperMummy.blogspot.co.uk, I think it is. But for the flight, I did want to write it, but too much went on this flight for me to actually write it down, so I thought I would just tell you about it. So basically, I haven't been on British Airways for a long time, maybe I think it's between maybe 6 to 10 years, because the last time I went on it I hadn't even had children, and my oldest is 6, and it was a few years before she was born, so it could be anywhere between 6 to 10 years. But yeah, and the last time I went on British Airways, it was from Barcelona back to England, and I remember it not being a nice experience. I remember the staff being a bit stuck up and snobby, and I remember they gave us some food, and we asked them a question about a drink, and the woman just like literally dashed the food at us. So it wasn't a good experience. But then because it had been so long, I thought maybe I've been kind of building up and making extra things up in my head and being a bit of a drama queen. So I thought, okay, seeing as British Airways is the only one that went direct to Tobago at that time that I wanted to go, I didn't really have much choice anyway. So I thought, okay, I'll go with an open mind. It's probably not as bad as I remember it. Okay, got on the flight now, had my seat, everything was alright. The staff were not that friendly, but they weren't grumpy, they just weren't that friendly. I think because I'm so used to going on Virgin, and to me the staff on Virgin are very happy and bubbly and friendly and like chatty, so I think I'm just used to that, and British Airways just isn't that at all. So yeah, going out, it's alright, the staff weren't that friendly. Then when you're going to Tobago, you stop in Antigua for about an hour, and then the cabin crew and the pilots and everything get off, and then a new cabin crew and new pilots get on in Antigua. So the new ones got on, and they were really happy, I guess, because they just spent a night or a couple of days or whatever in Antigua. So that was nice. I only had a 40-minute flight with them, so it was alright. Coming back, oh yeah, I didn't tell you about the turbulence in Antigua. In and out of Antigua, the turbulence was so bad. I actually felt travel sick, but yeah, obviously nothing to do with the pilots. I felt safe on the plane, and so coming back now, this was eventful. So we got on the flight, nobody was happy. Everyone was there was two air hostesses who were really lovely, but everyone else was just like grumpy. So then they got off, so we went from Tobago to Antigua, then that crew got off, the new crew got on. Oh my god, were they the grumpiest people ever. They got on, sorry, excuse me, I was thinking they've just come from Antigua. It's not like they'd come from another flight and then had to get on the flight from Antigua. They had just got on the flight. They got on the flight like this. Grumpy and harassed, like someone had already bothered them. Then you see them stomp onto the plane, and then put their things away, and not really bother with anybody. Then it's time to go now. You're about to take off. They didn't check no one's seatbelts to see if anyone was strapped in. And then they went, and the cabin crew went and took their seats. Before they went and took their seats, there was a guy in front of my friend who, as soon as he got on the plane, did that with his seat and kept rocking it back like that. So it kind of reclined more than what it was supposed to do. And your seat's supposed to be straight for takeoff. The air hostess looked at him doing this in his chair and just walked past and took her seat. Didn't say nothing at all. So his seat was reclined all the way back there, literally in my friend's lap. They didn't say nothing. Then we're still taking off. The plane is at a slant like this. Some guy who's sitting in front of the air hostess was just like, unclipped his seatbelt, and he's like, got up, And the plane's still like this, you know. Man got up, because you know when the plane's at a slant, you kind of have to walk like this. He got up now. Are you going to serve duty free? Are you going to serve duty free? And the air hostess hadn't even taken off her seatbelt. He'd taken off his seatbelt before she had even got up. And then she was like, oh no, we're not doing duty free yet. And then she took off her seatbelt and kind of walked to the back of the plane. And didn't say anything. The seatbelt signs were still on. The man just decided he needs to stand up for a bit. And then some ladies behind him, bearing in mind the seatbelt sign's still on, plane's still like this. Two ladies behind him decided they needed to unstrap themselves and get up and swap seats. I was thinking, are you serious? None of the cabin crew came and said anything. I was thinking, this would never happen on Virgin. So yeah, that happened, and I was a bit baffled by that. And then, every time we went through turbulence and the pilot switched on the fasten your seatbelts sign, apparently on British Airways, that means just undo your seatbelt and go to the toilet if you fancy it. I was thinking, are people really getting out of their seats? I felt so uncomfortable because the cabin crew were just walking past and like, oh sorry, excuse me. Didn't say nothing to them at all. People were queuing for the toilet. I was like, if I was on Virgin and the seatbelt signs were on, I would have to wet myself because they're not letting you out of your seat even if you are bursting to go to the toilet. And I'm like, the plane is rocking and you're still kind of getting out of your seat. Like, the seatbelt sign means nothing to people who fly British Airways. It was so weird. And oh yeah, before that, the safety demo. You know when they have to tell you where the exits and all the rest of that are? They were like, they were so grumpy. Literally, this is what they did. Your nearest exits are here, here, and there. And then they just literally stood like that while the pilot kind of was talking. Like they'd already had enough and they've literally just got on the flight. So yeah, every time we went through turbulence, every time they switched on the seatbelt signs, people still got up and wondered about the plane. No one said anything, which made me feel really uncomfortable because I was thinking, if this cabin crew really don't care about anything that's going on in this flight, how would they be able to deal with an emergency? I was thinking, could you imagine them like, oh, it's an emergency, brace, that would be them. They really, really were not fussed. They never checked the seatbelts. I think for the whole of this, I think altogether it was like a 10-hour flight. For the whole of the 10-hour flight, someone checked my seatbelt once. And that was it. Anytime there was turbulence or anything, or yeah, any kind of thing happening, they didn't check anybody's seatbelts. They didn't check your seatbelt when you were taking off. Didn't check your seatbelt when you were getting ready to land. They just didn't care. Then, as we're getting ready to land now, oh, and they didn't give me my breakfast, but that's another story. When we're getting ready to land, then all you hear is like, and I'm thinking, oh, that sounds like a mouth organ. Then I was thinking, no, it must be like background music. And then the sound carried on like, then some guy kind of looked around and was like, shut up. And I was thinking, oh, it's coming from behind me. Someone on their mouth organ or something, just playing their mouth organ. No one said anything, although it was the most annoying thing ever. Cabin crew said nothing. So that carried on. And then when we were getting ready to land, the same person with the mouth organ was like, I first of all thought that he was clapping because we were landing. Then realised it was like a random clapping pattern. So then that was annoying. Then after the clapping, then you hear, I was thinking, are they serious? This is the most random flight ever. Grumpy staff that did not care. I will never fly with them again unless I get paid a lot of money. And even if I got paid a lot of money, I will still probably be like, no, I'd rather go with Virgin. It's exactly how I remembered it to be. All of them, give or take maybe a few, have this whole attitude of, I would rather be in first class and not here serving you peasants. Everyone has that attitude. I remember that attitude from the last time I went on British Airways, and that's the attitude that they still have today. Everything seems like a hassle to them. Like asking them things feels like you're begging them, and I'm like, I'm not here to beg you. asking you nicely. You should treat me the same way I'm treating you. I'm very respectful and very polite to people. And for you to be grumpy and rude back, it's just not nice. So, yes, my review of British Airways, will not fly with them again. No. And not in economy. I'm guessing, maybe if I flew in first class, maybe they would treat me a lot better. But economy, they do not seem to care about you. So, yes, hope this has helped if you're thinking of flying with them. Oh, and also, important thing, in-flight entertainment is rubbish. I was thinking, I'm so happy I didn't bring the kids with me, because they would be bored out of their brains. So much old films, and it's not even like old classics. It's just old films that you're like, when was this ever released? What is this? Such a weird selection of films. I just went to sleep because it was so bad. The only film that I recognised on there was Bad Bosses 2, and that was about the most recent film that they had. Everything else was just weird. Some random channel that you get on Sky at about 2 o'clock in the morning. It just shows random things. So yes, hope that helps. I will obviously be sticking to my beloved Virgin, and if I need to go to any other islands in the Caribbean, I will probably just fly into somewhere on Virgin and then fly on Liat or Caribbean Airways. Although I hate tiny planes, I think I would rather fly on a tiny plane than experience British Airways again. I paid too much money to be treated like a peasant, so I will never be doing that again to myself. Hope I help. See you soon. Thank you. Bye.